My name's Wendy Berrill. I am the project manager for Michael Baker on the East Palestine Park project that we are in design for currently. So we're going to go over a couple different things. First and foremost, our main purpose for being here tonight is to go over the phase one of the park, which includes the oval area, the sport courts, the regrading of the oval, and the dog park parking and lighting. So we would like to, we're at final design of those elements for phase one, and would like to get into approval, and so we can get into construction of phase one here in a couple months. So first we'll just go through a little bit about the process and the sequence and the schedule. Just generally that we'll go for all of the phases, just in general, and then we'll get into the details of phase one. And then we'll pause there for any questions or concerns or anything like that. And then, as the mayor said, that we'll talk a little bit about the pool building and the welcome sign as well, just at the end. So we need a clicker. So we've shown this slide in a past presentation, and it's really just a general informational slide just to show kind of what the process of this whole design is and what we're kind of following. So first we come up with the conceptual design of each of these phases, each of these pieces of the park. And then we go to a 30% design, which is what we've kind of presented here in the past meetings on a couple of the different phases. We've taken to 30%, and then we move forward and get review and approval by Norfolk Southern and move forward with the design. And then we're at about a 90% design of phase one right now to get you all's approval, and then we can move forward with the bid documents to find a contractor, put it out for bid, select a contractor out of anybody who bids on the project, the construction project, and then get into construction. So that's just kind of the process that goes into it before we get to that construction phase. This is just a little, you probably can't see it from far away, but is in the packet that was sent out, but this is just a approximate schedule of phase one, getting to construction here. We're in the design phase through the first quarter of this year, getting into final, we're in final design right now, and we hope to go to bid in May. So that the bid process always takes a couple of months. You have to find the contractors to bid, you have to review the bids, and then select a contractor and get them under contract and everything like that. So it'll take a little while just for that bid phase. So, and we'd like to be able to begin construction in mid-July, right after you all's big 4th of July celebration in the park. We don't want to have construction all over the place, during that. We don't want to start before that's all over. So we're hoping to start right after that celebration, and then it'll be in construction of those sport courts and the grading in the oval infield through the later part of this year. And so this approval process and everything is very important to us to get going on that, so that we don't get held up at all. I'm going to turn it over to Jason. He's a civil and land development designer on the project, working on the phase one design and plans.
Great. Thank you, Wendy. So, like she said, I am Jason Wagner. I am the lead civil for the site and the grading design for the project. And so, overall, there have been no major changes to our design since previous presentation. We still have the relocation of the sport courts. We have a new stage going in on the northwest corner of the open field area. We are improving the field area itself. We're going to alleviate the drainage issues. We are extending the parking along both linear sides of the main loop. And finally, we're going to deal with the dog park over there. We're going to put in new parking area, and we're going to improve the lighting in that. So let's dive into the actual site improvements. First off, we do want to confirm that we will not be removing any of the existing courts until we get the new courts fully constructed. So in the court area, we will have the 4 tennis courts relocated, as is the 2 basketball courts. The volleyball court will be moving a little bit further south, but it will be over in that area. And we will also be including 2 new pickleball courts. The fencing around the facility, around the court areas, will be very similar to what exists, similar in type and size. Also, we will be putting in new lighting to light the whole area. Additionally, we'll be putting in a gathering area right above the pickleball courts that's going to situate just in the area near the coming pool house, so that it will double as an area for gathering from the sporting events and such, and also to provide a place for people whenever they order concessions or such from the outside of the pool facility. So there will be seating and such there. The stage area, we intend to have it powered. So the power will be controlled by the park facility, so they will be able to turn it on and off as they need to. It will have ramps in the back so there can, whenever people need to bring up equipment and such, that will be there for that use. It should be about 4 feet off the ground, so it should provide adequate visibility. Additionally, the majority of the walking path will be placed. So it will tie into the existing path that goes along where the existing courts are, that existing asphalt path. So we will have a temporary connection with a little bit of asphalt to extend to this concrete path. And the path itself will be lighted. We plan on having lights on posts that surround the entire loop, but at this time we'll just put in the lights as we need. Those lights also, we intend to have outlets at them at every base, so that they may be used for events like food trucks coming in or other things like that. Those will also be controlled by the park. We will run power back to a panel where we will also keep it for the stage, so that they can turn on and off as they need. The surface parking, so along those 2 areas, we're going to put a major amount of parking. At the time, for this phase, we're only going to put it in as aggregate, so that just to prevent any other construction operations to damage it, it will be paved fully in a later phase. And lastly, for site work, we intend to pave the dog park area, so the parking lot back there will be paved, and it will also be expanded to about double the capacity that it currently is, as well as we will put some lighting out there in kind with the lights that will be on the loop. So for grading and drainage, being one of my favorite local parks to come to, I understand the drainage issues over here, so we are definitely going to work on getting a nice consistent slope through there so that we can eliminate the ponding and such that we have. With that, we will also be putting in some new stormwater systems that will run the loop. We will be installing what we need to for this phase, and as part of that project, we will need to put some temporary routing so that we go to, there's an existing storm outlet that's kind of near the exit of the park. So for the time being, we will put that in until we can get the pond fully designed and developed. So that will be a temporary condition until we get that resolved. The on site right now, we will have a little detention area that will remain dry. It will just be for holding for a storm event, and then it will totally the water will totally leave the area. And as such, we will also be working on getting all the water in the perimeter to make sure that it drains properly to all the structures and such.
When will this be occurring? Concurrent with the, will you be doing the courts and this all at the same time?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So rotary soccer might be a no-go this year. Yeah.
With the grading there, are you going to basically put a crown in the middle of the grassy area and push everything to the outside? I see that's where you have all your catch basins on the perimeter.
Yeah, you want to back up there? The actual intent is to sheet it totally evenly through and get to the other, get to the kind of northeast side, yes. And so between the ability, because we're going to sheet it, it will help it have a tendency to infiltrate some as it goes. So,
Okay.
yeah, so we won't be concentrating flow into a particular area that we have to channelize.
So you're pushing it from where the hillside is toward where the basketball courts are?
Correct.
Okay.
And we'll have storm inlets to pick up the water in that area.
At both ends and then channel it around, okay.
Correct.
Is there any way to preserve that space for rotary soccer? Is there any way to make the season happen?
Well, I think we should ask the school if we can use the practice fields behind the school.
Yes,
And that way we don't have to cancel rotary soccer.
Apologies, not sure we use those, but yeah, like a little more on football.
So that's something.
Yeah, we'll figure something out. We won't.
You could do it right up on the hill, by the old baseball field, by the girl, by the shoot on the fireworks.
Okay.
What do you need? You need four fields, right? Or five now? Four?
We'll make it work. Yeah, that's a good program. We can't go
Yeah,
without
we
it.
can't just.
Yeah, we can't do
That's a good way to kill a program. So.
Yeah, we'll get it. Okay, thank you.
So just some highlights on what will be being removed. One of the big things is to note that we understand how much the community does utilize that the ball field to the south there of the loop. So we the way we're designing the grading, we will not be touching the backstop at all. However, as a result of the grading operations, we do have to work on the dirt area there. So the infield itself, we will have to regrade that, but it will give us a better product in the end. We have full intention of restoring that to its condition. The bleachers will be stored for the time while construction operations go on, and then be returned to be put back into their locations. The trees around the perimeter, most of them are in the way of a lot of the parking and the sidewalk installations, so those will have to be removed. And so we will be doing that. If there is any, we did see that there are some trees that have dedication placards. Those will be preserved, and there will be other trees that will be installed in kind. And additionally, the storm, as we show, the storm will be removed as it's needed for the project, and with the new storm placed as it needs to be. And lastly, the overhead electrical lines, those will all be removed so that the new lighting system will be put in, and with the new lighting system, that will be underground conduit, so the overhead lines will no longer be there. Any other questions?
I have a question. So just for a general understanding, so the whole inner oval will be regraded, resurfaced?
Yep.
Okay. And all the trees on the oval will be removed?
A good portion of the trees will be removed as part of that. And to reiterate, as part of this phase, the loop itself will not be resurfaced at the time. We will just be installing the gravel for the parking areas, and during the final phase, that's whenever we're going to pave everything one shot and make sure it's all even and consistent.
And the temporary retention pond is located where?
It's located to the northeast corner of the facility right there. And that is just to catch any runoff from operations where the grass is not set or anything at that time.
Okay, sorry, I missed that.
Would
vegetation, maybe, shrubbery, something, some type of greenery or?
There will be, the landscaping will be replaced throughout. We have landscaping plans we're working on as we speak.
Thank you.
Some of those trees need removed anyhow, bad shape.
As we heard from the park, yes.
How long do you anticipate this taking?
We do have a schedule up.
Yeah, we're assuming, start in July, and we're hoping to be complete by like November timeframe. So, yeah. We had one of our construction engineers look at the schedule and try and develop something that was, made sense. Yeah, and we need to complete, this to be able to start on the pool project, and we want to be able to start that as soon as possible, as well.
You want
So.
that in the winter.
That ties, we have to get the sport courts reestablished before we can demo them, so.
You guys said July, it will be after July 4th.
Right, yes, yeah.
What's your time estimate when the sport courts will be done? Because there'll be tennis, girls' tennis starts August 1.
The old courts will be there until the new ones are done. They said that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pretty
Yes,
aggressive
Scott.
schedule.
It's looking ahead a little bit. What is the next phase then? Like, is that the demo of the existing course, the prep for the full work?
Yes.
Is that the next part?
Yeah.
Any other visitor comments before we move on to the next thing? Like, we got a little bit of time, just. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, they got more.
So,
Oh, yep, sorry. Somebody make a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve phase 1, moving into phase 2.
Second one.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you. Great. So we just wanted to kind of circle back to the aquatic center. I know this is small, but we had a couple of updates in the pool building, just in the floor plan of it since we presented it last time. I think we were here in November and showed the floor plan of the pool building, and we've just had some tweaks to that as we got that to like the 30% level. So right now we're at that 30% level in that first slide that I showed, of the pool building design. So we just wanted to, while we're here, present it to you all just as information. But this is our tentative schedule right now for phase 2. We are, here in, I can't even see that very well, but here in April, hoping, we're going to move forward from 30% through up into final design of the pool and pool building now, and then hope to get to the bid process for that in July, And then, as we start construction on phase 1, we can get to the bid process of phase 2, hope to bid that out. That'll take a few months like we talked about earlier, and then start construction on that like as soon as we can, as soon as those sport courts are out of the way. So that's kind of tied to phase 1, but hoping to be able to start on that in the fall, and then that construction will go through the winter because, it's a whole building and the pool and everything, and aiming to be complete with phase 2 by pool season of 2025. So Amy's going to go into a little bit of detail on the pool house and everything. I mean, you all have seen this. This is just the aerial of that master plan, just kind of showing where that's going to be. That's right in place of the existing sport courts now.
Oh, can you go back?
Sure.
Please? Sorry. Did they make the parking lot a lot bigger?
No. Well, so we had that parking area down below previously, and then with the grading and everything, we just kind of moved that up to the top parking area. Right, Jason?
It'll be one consistent.
One big area, yeah. Oh, good.
So just quickly, this is a breakdown of the program, all the spaces that we're planning to put into the pool house, with square footages of what's being proposed versus our kind of rough estimates of what's in the existing pool house. We didn't do any really detailed measurements or anything, but in looking at the building, this is kind of a approximation. So we tried to keep the new spaces as close to or larger than the existing spaces, and also providing, as you can see, some additional spaces as well, a larger entry area, a separate locker room, family restroom with accessible shower, mechanical room, electrical room, some park storage space, an event space, and then 2 restrooms that will be facing the park side, the new courts and things like that, so that there's some additional restrooms to serve those areas, in addition to the restrooms that are in the pool for the pool. Okay. So this is the current iteration of the floor plan. It's very similar to what was presented last time. Kind of enter near the corner of the building there, where the dashed lines are along the horizontal bar is a covered canopy facing the pool, and then another covered canopy facing the park, so that there's some shaded area on both of those sides for people to sit, or if there's sporting events happening along the south. And that's where those, you can see those 2 little square restrooms facing the plan south side, that those will serve the park. There's the park storage area immediately next to that for seasonal equipment or anything like that for the pool or for the park. The one probably most major change to this floor plan is the event space on the left-hand side of the horizontal bar. Previously, we'd shown that as a completely enclosed indoor space, and after giving that a little bit of thought, thinking that it's probably going to be rented out for kids' birthday parties and things like that, where kids are swimming and wet and running around, it seemed to make a little bit more sense to have that be a little bit more of an outdoor space, so it's covered. I think we're planning for like a fan in there for some air movement, but it's open to the pool, and it just seemed like a better configuration. Concession stand there on the end with windows to serve both the pool and the park, so if there's soccer games going on or something like that, and the community wants to have the concession stand open, people can go there and order snacks, things like that. The items in the north bar are pretty much the same: pool storage, some controls for the new splash pad, and pump room chemical storage. Those spaces will probably be fleshed out a little bit more as we bring on the pool consultant to get some more information about the equipment and kind of back of house needs for that. But that's where we're at. These next views kind of show some ideas that we had about materials and color scheme. We're thinking field brick for most of the wall surface, with a ground-faced concrete block table at the base for a little extra durability. Standing seam metal roof for the primary entrance doors. Like an aluminum storefront system with glass so that people can see through, and then painted hollow metal doors for those spaces like the pool storage, the pump room, and things like that, where you don't really need to have any visibility. One thing to note is we're also planning to put an anti-graffiti coating on all of the masonry to help with durability and maintenance. So you can see in these views those canopies on either side where a lot of the building is in shadow. That's where those areas are. Any questions, comments?
Can we get the picture back up of the revised plan for the top, very first one, going back to the mayor?
The site plan?
That one.
That guy? Yeah, that's what we're thinking, to have those just be for the park so that there's not any, for security, way for people to get through. Yeah, there's plenty of fixtures in the men's and the women's room. We have toilets, urinals in the men's room, and then some showers and changing stalls on the right-hand side there as well.
So if there's an issue back here, when it says mechanical and electric, is that just for this bottom portion?
Those are primarily serving that portion, but there's going to be some electrical, obviously, in like the ticket office and first aid office, and depending, what we don't really have a whole lot of information on what the needs will be for the equipment.
The pump controls and all that?
Yeah.
Separate electric?
Yeah,
So there
I
won't
think
be
so.
any- Just so if there'd be an emergency, they need to turn back on, they don't have to.
Yeah.
They have to be within, like,
I didn't know,
Yeah.
yeah.
what is it, 10 feet now?
I'd have to check with our electrical engineer.
It used to be like 15 or 20 feet. I think they reduced it to 10 feet. You have to be, if you're in a pump, you have to be within 10 feet of like an emergency.
Are there going to be other restrooms like on the south side of the oval, or are these the?
Yes. No, we're putting in a new like prefab restroom on the southwest side of the oval. Yeah, and then one in the, like near the community center also, where there is one now.
To replace the two that are there,
Yeah,
yes. And they'll
yeah.
be both installed at the same time so we can get them together.
Thank you, guys.
When will that be?
That's after this
That'll be part of
yeah.
the third phase, yes.
Is the tan area around the pool, is that all like a concrete pad area?
Well, we don't have the pool designed yet, so it could be, bigger, different shape. That's just
Okay.
but that will just be a concrete area, whatever size that ends up being.
The entire building is all the speed blocks, you said?
Sorry, let me.
It's like a double click situation.
Oh yeah, so this is.
It's hard to visualize.
No, this is sort of the front part of the building. So the beige portion of the building that's the majority of the wall is going to be the beige brick that you see in the upper left-hand corner. And then the split face CMU block is going to just that darker strip along the bottom for like.
Just visually didn't look very interesting from here, that's why I was asking.
Okay.
I couldn't see it.
It's hard to see in this slide, but we do have like a little soldier course that runs around the building at the heads of the windows and the doors to give a little bit of interest and break things up. But and the roof is going to be, I don't know if I mentioned it before, the roof is going to be a standing seam metal, so it'll be extremely durable and easy to maintain.
And does that include any landscape that will go around this, or is it going to be pretty much just the building?
Jason, do you know about
The focus on
landscaping?
this is the building itself. Phase 3 will have more landscaping for the remaining perimeter around the building and some of the amenities going to the north of that. So.
So there will
I
probably be
assume
like,
The beautiful pine trees that are there will be removed.
Unfortunately, in a good way, Yeah.
As much as I love the trees in the park, I think they bring a beautiful aesthetic, but, there are some trees that can definitely, modern landscaping will be a thing, so the next 20 or 30 years, so it's just as pretty as they do.
Brennan, is there any dedicated trees on the infield side, or are they all on the visitor side?
There's a ball field.
There's a couple. There's a few. Yep, there are. To the south end, there are a few down by the softball field.
Can you guys figure out who they are, get names, just so we can
Yep.
contact them, tell them we're gonna move them, and let them pick where we move them to temporary basis?
Absolutely.
Does that affect the trees coming up the entrance?
Shouldn't, there's nothing moving.
Okay.
Nope, not.
Which brings me to this question, you are going to reverse the
Still on the back, Just like roundabouts when you go, that's right.
Wendy, I do know that there is a memorial at the tennis courts. So are you gonna, when you guys do the demolition or whatever, any of those trees or whatever, where are you gonna give us, are you gonna give us the memorialization plaques?
I think that would probably be best, rather than have the contractor hold on to those.
Well, just so we know
We'll
if we're
write
gonna
that
be
in the-
keeping
yeah,
them.
we'll have to write that in.
Yeah, the Cohen family wants the one from, they've already reached out when they found out this was happening. So the tennis court, they would really appreciate that plaque, and I said.
So we just need to make sure we coordinate with the village on who's gonna be taking those.
Okay, yeah.
We need to make sure all that happens before we okay the start, so we don't wanna get something screwed up and we still, that's not right. So.
Yeah.
Do you have an estimate time that should be moved before the project? Obviously, we're approving phase one, so our approval tonight is just phase one.
Yes, yeah, we'll come back when we're much further along with the aquatic center, and we have the pool and all of that stuff, so that, to get the approval to move that forward, so.
With that information coming back, is that going to be an idea of the pool itself as well? Or
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
It's finally taking shape.
All right, let's see the sign.
That's good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so this is switching gears from the park to the welcome sign, the new welcome sign that replaces the current welcome sign that's at the north end of Market Street where it intersects there with the state route up there. This is just another assumed schedule for the welcome sign. We have to coordinate with ODOT since that's ODOT land there, so that'll take a little coordination. The design phase for everything, it includes architecture and structural for the foundations and then electrical design since that's all lit out there now, and we'll be replacing the lighting and everything for that. So we're hoping to get into a bid process for that project in June. And start construction at the end of the summer. So this is just some renderings of the design, the concept of the welcome sign at this point. Like I said, it kind of mimics the existing design with the three sides, how you can see it from any direction on all three of those roads that kind of surround the sign there. But we broke it up into three pieces so it can be easier to access the middle if there's any planting or maintenance or anything from the center of the signs there. The architecture pulls cues from the high school architecture, but this is the same footprint of the existing sign. It's the same widths and the same height of the sign that's out there currently. The whole kind of area is separated by a 1-foot curb that goes around the whole area and holds it all together and can separate the grassy area that is mowed by Ohio. And right now we're showing 2 flagpoles, but that can be changed if wanted. And then we do show 1 tree, a shade tree in the middle, but that can be replaced with anything, as well as the landscaping around the fronts of the signs there. That's, from our understanding, taken care of by a community group, so that can be, whatever is wanted in those areas. So there's plenty of space for it, though, whatever you all want to put there. So, yeah, that's really it. We just wanted to kind of show a quick rendering of what we're thinking.
That's cool. What will be in the center then? Will it be grass or will it be like concrete?
It'll probably be like a gravel or something like that, to keep the weeds down and right. Yes, yeah, definitely something that's not needing to be maintained in that big open area.
I'm new to council here, but what is the main purpose of doing the new sign?
According to branding, one is not in good condition.
Okay. That's not official.
It's not.
I haven't had that discussion with you, right?
You know, like enticing.
Trent?
Yeah.
So, to go along with it, the signs will be our new logo, the new Welcome to East Palestine sign, and with what we're trying to promote through all the billboards and stuff that you're gonna start seeing here. So it's sort of to bring it all together as all as one look and to promote East
Like a
Palestine.
rebrand is what we're saying.
And one of the rules from ODOT, when back in October or whatever, we're going with the digital sign, we wanted the digital sign up there. They had denied that because of the rules and regulations, and they said as long as we design something that is the same exact height, width, we should be able to get it approved.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Do you guys need an approval for the sign?
Sure, that'd be great. Yes, to move forward with the sign.
Second. Yourself, Tim, second? All in favor? Opposed?
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for having us again. Andy Maguire with U.S. EPA. Here with Tim Fisher from Arcadis representing NS. I just want to give you, Tim's going to give you a little rundown of updates on what we're doing with the streams, kind of some current operations, some upcoming operations, and then any questions y'all might have as we go along, just let us know. Okay?
Yeah, thank you very much. So, Tim Fisher, I'm one of the operations chiefs for the response. Let me start by saying, first of all, thank you for allowing me the time to give you an update tonight. Current operations on site, really the big theme is water, a lot of water, right? Over the 10-day period, the village received just over 4.25 inches of rain. Water that hits the site is collected, that's a lot of water. Part of that was some flooding that occurred on site. State Line Lake on the north side of the tracks, on the Pennsylvania side, that had filled to a point where it overflowed its banks and connected with fire suppression pond that's located near Brave Industries. We knew this because during site activities, walking around the site, you can see that occurred. One of my colleagues, when he walked over in that area, he was in about chin deep water and noticed some fish that were around his feet and didn't think too much of it, but certainly something you don't see in the field typically. In that fire suppression pond, there are pumps that pump that water out. The purpose of that is to capture the water from sulfur run, bypass it around the site so it doesn't come in contact with the site, and then discharge it into sulfur by Strohacker Industries. During that rain event, so much water came in, we have 3 pumps there. During the course of the response, we've only ever had to turn on 2. We had to turn on all 3 pumps and they operated continuously. As you can imagine, that's quite a bit of water that's getting pulled in, and it was discharged, but it did keep the water on site. During routine activities though, we monitor the streams daily. This past Friday, one of the contractors noticed dead fish. Certainly not something we've seen recently. So we talked to the EPA about that, and immediately contacted Ohio DNR to let them know they came out. And it seemed obvious that the fish died via physical means. I say obvious as missing heads, part of them were missing, no other indication of damage to the fish other than that physical means. I walked the entire length of Sulphur Run from that discharge point down to Leslie myself on Saturday and counted fish and identified where they were. The bulk of them were in that area near Strohacker, and then it started to decrease. There was approximately 5 just before Leslie, so there was none identified Leslie. Did the same thing on Sunday, and then today I'm speaking with Ohio DNR, and the EPA made the determination to collect the fish, so they have been collected at this point. the standpoint of ODNR's determination initially was it's okay to either leave them or collect them, but there's concern obviously that there could be odors or other things coming from that, so they have been collected at this point. Is there any questions on that before I move on to the next topic? Yep.
Might there be a barrier, like screening to prevent that from happening in the future?
Yeah, so that's certainly one thing that came up. How do these get pulled into the pump? So the way it's set up is there's large plastic tubes, approximately 8 to 10 inches in diameter, that float out into this retention pond. And there's slots cut in the bottom, about 1 inch wide, and they got pulled in through there. So we're working with the contractors. This is the first time this has happened, and I think it's a result of that much rain and all 3 of them being turned on at one time. Working with the contractors to come up with some kind of screen that could put on it such that it would stop fish from going in, but then it might also collect other debris and clog the pumps and then cause bigger issues. It was unforeseen that, yes, that they would get, fish would get flushed from State Line Lake and get pushed all the way over to.
Yeah, and talking with DNR and Ohio EPA, it's mainly the bluegill, perch, right? Fish you don't typically see in streams, lakes, right? So because of the flooding, it moved all the fish out of the lake on that.
The other thing, part of the problem with that is because of the depth of State Line Lake, it has actually been filled in over the years with some silt and all and everything, so it's a lot shallower than it used to be.
No floods easy. I don't really have any questions about the fish kill. My questions are, 6 weeks ago, EPA, Norfolk was in here adjusting the factor, opening up the north and south ditch. There's gonna be an evaluation period, reopen this section 1, section 2, section 3, could be another one. You know, the week prior to the rain, we had, from what I heard and seen, we had a pretty abrupt halt in that situation, am I correct? So the halt was, so we actually have opened a portion of the south ditch, and Tim was gonna talk about that. And we're also gonna talk about what halt did, and that was the cleanup of the creeks, right? We talked, I was in here in January telling you guys about some of the cleanup work that we were doing. They were writing mitigation plan, get rid of the sheen, right? As we were seeing when we did the assessments of the creeks. We stopped them. I mean, the first day they were starting, you know, the work plan called for them to, as they generate that sheen, they got to collect it, right? You don't want to go downstream. But we found issues with that collection process. We stopped them, told them to rewrite the plan, and that plan has now been rewritten. We've reviewed it. It's got, you know, conditional approval pending some minor changes. They haven't been authorized to continue that work, but it should be by the end of the week. It should be authorized to start again. So we're hoping by next week we'll get back in there and start that efforts. And the containment system, the collection system has been, you know, much improved in their amended work plan based on what we saw. Yeah, I myself walked from Stroneckers down to Creek to, let's see, Tiger Street tracks, we sat through the day. Summer trucks, back trucks, yeah, taking off the French, and I put gravel on it. Compared to the past, it wasn't as bad, but there were still some spots, especially behind the eagles. You know, so it's safe to say that we don't have an exact remediation plan that we know that works. Right, and it's an iterative process. I think we probably, I know I mentioned that early in January, and then I think some folks came and gave a different update. So it's a implement a tactic or a mitigation, you know, work, and then reevaluate, right? So it's a constant process to see how each tactic worked, and if it didn't work, then we'll reevaluate, do a new tactic, right? So that's kind of the process. We're at the beginning stage. So it'll be a process, no doubt. And if one tactic we use doesn't work, we'll come up with a new one. So I appreciate it.
you wanna talk about the ditch opening?
Yeah, so as mentioned, the reopening that is section by section. So we're working through that. One of the largest producing sections was the first one to be reopened, and that is reopened at this point now. So that is collected near New Oil, not Taggart, the larger down here where the gas station
South
was.
Ditch.
Yeah.
Okay.
So water is collected there and then piped through South Ditch and then discharged at Sulphur right by the tracks and Strohacker there. So that is a significant amount of water that is moving, which is good because that's water that we would have had to collect previously and transport it off-site. Now that can be restored to Sulphur. I did a bucket test on it on Saturday and raw test, but approximately 200,000 gallons a day that is now being released. So that's a big step forward towards.
So 200,000 gallons a day?
And that's very approximate, but yes.
If you don't mind cleaning up for me, I drive out there every day. You know, I visually am concerned, you know, so as I drive out today, it seems to me as if the south ditch behind Strohackers, there's been a lot of gravel installed. Are we just covering up what's there?
So the reason to get the gravel in there, we're collecting samples. So in order to give, they're called geoprobes, the small rigs that collect soil samples. In order to give them a platform to be able to work on, that gravel will be placed in there. It needs to be placed in there regardless as part of the reconstruction efforts. So also allow them to give a platform to do their sampling. But the water that would be in there, you're right, is there, but it still is collected as it moves down through the different collection points.
Thank you.
So that's it. The first step is that one section, and we're getting close to being able to release. That water, that's always a big concern. But again, we can get closer to releasing more of the pitches.
Is there an opportunity that maybe we could get a on-site tour of that operation? The council itself or a few members? of the council?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I
What would
appreciate
you
that.
have to do to do that?
Probably look at two of the people that can make it happen right here.
Yeah.
So,
Looks like we got to go.
yeah, we'll just have to coordinate and see when you wanna do it.
And I mean, I'm not being hasty, you know, I
Yeah.
think at the end of it all, you know, we have 4,700 people in this town that are still everyday concerned, you know.
Yep.
I think when EPA, you know, we put on there, we wanna trust you guys,
Yeah.
you know. And ideally, it's been a battle back and forth, you know, it's like once, I mean, myself personally, and I think I speak for some other people in the village, you know, we get to this point where it feels good, and then something happens just as much as 2 weeks ago, not necessarily last week, you know, so. I respect you guys' time and work, I know, you know, what you guys do there, it's time consuming, but at the same time, you know, I got my people, my community on hand that ask me every day, you know, what is going on? You see it on the news, you see it on the paper, you see it on the internet, blah, blah, blah. You know, right now, I'd love to be able to take this information from your mouth to their ears, from my mouth.
Yeah, gotcha.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, I think Chief Drabeck's on our calls 3 times a week. You know, he might be a good, you know, coordinator of that. I mean, we'll do it, we'll coordinate with you whenever.
Yeah.
But he's fully engaged in our unified command, right? So he could bring it to us and make it happen. We can make it happen either way, but that's a good conduit into our.
Do you have a card on for that?
I do at the Welcome Center. I can walk down there and grab it and give it to you. I do it down here.
I'm sure we can track it down.
Yeah. I'm at the Welcome Center every day, so if you guys need it, it's
Thanks.
Yep.
So another activity is the culverts. The one that remains is the longest culvert that runs under Taggart, and it's about 800 feet. So a lot of safety concerns associated with that, and we evaluated those. OSHA was included in part of that, and we made an attempt a couple weeks ago to do that work, and the water coming through was too much and it overtopped the dams that we have to set in place. So we re-looked at that. We have larger bypass piping that'll run through, and tomorrow we're gonna make another attempt at that. So that's where you'll see trucks parked, the vacuum truck, which is basically just a fancy septic truck, will be on Liberty, where the outlet to that culvert is. And that'll be staged there for the purpose, if during those activities any sheen is created that happens to get to that point, that truck will collect it. It'll also stay there overnight. It won't be running. So I think last time there was some concerns with noise. It won't be running, but it'll be there and able to be turned on, such that someone does see something.
So you would consider that a recontamination event of the stream?
So if we don't want to release sheen downstream.
I mean, before you contained it when it overflowed?
Oh, so the last time the water came, it wasn't, we didn't release any sheen from the culvert section, but water came into the work area where the workers couldn't work safely.
It was contained and not discharged down?
Yeah, and we're comfortable with them doing the culvert, because we've done culvert work in the past that was successful, right, with the plan. It's a separate plan from the plan that we stopped. So, yeah, we're comfortable with them moving on with that. And we're there doing oversight the entire time. The other thing we're doing for culvert work and stream work is air sampling and monitoring. So, you'll see some more of those canisters right in that immediate area while we're doing that work.
Yep, in fact, they started tonight to place those out and start that sampling process. So you might see some in that area.
My question is this is a question, is there something that we can coordinate with WRL to put a communication piece out about the cleanup?
So, WRL.
It's the gentleman right here.
Oh,
We are
okay.
videoing this and we'll be putting it on the
Okay.
website.
Okay, thank you.
You mean
I can
communicate,
see him back there, I'm too short.
communicate this information to the,
Yes. So that the public has some information.
They do, yeah, and we've got our press team that issues press releases and I know Chief posts a lot of stuff on the website and the social media stuff we give him, so. Chief is certainly involved in all those discussions.
Thank you.
like how many fish were involved in the incident?
Yeah, so we collected 1,025 today. And that was, it was quite a bit.
You feel an obligation to put fish back into the lake to pick up the ones that got out?
We haven't discussed that at this point.
I mean, I don't think they fish it out later, sure.
Not so much now.
Yeah. Don't worry about that, you know?
The good thing was that they were alive at one point, they made it downstream, so I think you guys that.
Public drive,
One more, the 2 weeks ago, so the water that is sucked off the top sheen, I guess, for that sheen cleanup, where is that water dispersed from the truck?
Yeah, so the water is pulled into the truck, it's then driven over to frac tanks or the large food tanks.
Okay.
And then we put them in those tanks.
Okay.
And then transfer.
Okay, thank you. I waited around one day to follow him, but he didn't, I don't know if he caught on to my jig, but he wasn't one. Thank you.
So anything else? Any other questions for us?
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.